Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, whatever time you are viewing this video. This intro was filmed literally after everything else. Like, I just filmed my outro. So my hair is different because I got it dyed to my natural color. So in the first clip of this video, my hair is literally gonna be blonde. So that's the reason for that. Welcome in. Today's video is going to be about the Song of Achilles and the Iliad. It will not be spoiler free. If you are looking for a spoiler free reading vlog, this is not it. I repeat, it will not be spoiler free. Now that I've given ample warning, welcome to today's video. I'm gonna be comparing the Iliad to the Song of Achilles because I had to write a paper comparing them for school. So I decided, why not make it a video? Today's video is gonna be the first in a series that I came up with. I don't know if it's been done before. I hope not, because I feel pretty cool for coming up with it. I'm gonna call it the Battle of the Books. Basically, this series is gonna be me reading two books or two series that are based off of each other, very similar, take place in the same universe. So like, for example, I would read Six of Crows and the Shadow and Bone series and compare the two. And they would battle it out and see who won. So today's is gonna be the Song of Achilles versus the Iliad, even though you can't really compare them because of how different the time period is. And obviously I'm gonna be biased because the Song of Achilles was written in my lifetime. So I'm gonna enjoy it more, but I'm gonna compare them anyways because I think the series is cool. So I hope you enjoyed today's video. Let's get to it. It's way overdue that I start the Iliad, so I'm reading it out of my textbook. And the thing about me reading it out of my textbook is that it doesn't have every single book in it. So technically, I'm not reading the entire Iliad. I'm only reading the parts of it that are in the textbook. But the textbook has the most important parts in it. And then the books that it skips, it has summaries of in between. So I'm starting that, and I will update you when I have something interesting to say. Achilles just called Agamemnon dog face. Also, I'm whispering because I'm in the student lounge at my school and I think there's somebody in the next room. So far, it's very confusing. Like, the writing style is very confusing, and I mean, I know it was written like a long time ago, so it's like bound to be less modern, if you will. But yeah, I watched a video that summarized it before I started reading so that when I was reading I would understand. And if I had not watched that video, I would not know what was going on. That's my update. So it's the next day and I just finished the first book of Iliad. What I've noticed so far is that there is a lot of detail. This specific line says, "The Olympian Zeus went to his bed, the bed he always slept in when sweet sleep overcame him. He climbed in and slept." I feel like if he was getting into his own bed, it's kind of implied that he always sleeps there. It's just a lot of detail that I feel is not necessary. But it is a classic, so maybe it's supposed to be that way. I don't know. I just don't like the writing style. Maybe if I had lived during this time, I would have enjoyed it because the storyline's kind of cool. I like the storyline, but the writing style, I don't like it at all. Okay, so I forgot to record last night while I was actually reading because I was kind of trying to speed read a little bit before bed because this essay is due on Friday and it's Saturday. Like, it's due in 6 days and I haven't even finished the Iliad yet. So I still have to finish the Iliad and read Song of Achilles. But anyways, the point of this video was I forgot to record last night, but I just got to the part where Patroclus died in battle and he basically told Hector, like, he was like, "You didn't do this. This wasn't..." Someone just pulled up beside me. That's awkward. I'm gonna wait for them to go inside. Okay, whatever. They're not leaving. What was I saying? Oh yeah, he basically looked at Hector and his like dying words were like, "You didn't do this. You're not all big and bad. You're not the one who killed me." I think it was, who was it? My literal job is to know what happens in this book and I can't remember. I think it was Apollo, maybe? Anyways, it was like one of the gods that made it to where Patroclus was vulnerable, and as soon as he was vulnerable, Hector went and killed him. And for his dying words, Patroclus was like, "You're a wimp. Like, this wasn't you. So, go Patroclus, honestly. Okay, so I forgot to film again. I finished the Iliad yesterday, and I started the Song of Achilles this morning. I'm on page 6, and immediately I could tell this is from Patroclus's point of view. Boy, am I excited, because going from reading the Iliad, it was literally like pulling teeth until like the very end. The very end was kind of really cool, actually. But going back to reading like modern fiction instead of an epic poem that was written who knows how long ago, it's like a breath of fresh air. But anyways, I have a total of 3 days to finish reading this and write my essay. So yeah, I'm gonna get back to that. So far this is pretty different than I expected. I expected it to just be basically a modern version of the Iliad. I expected each chapter to be like a book of the Iliad, but that's not how it's written at all. He gives a little background about his parents, and then there's some games. Patroclus gets sent off to Peleus's kingdom. If I'm saying that wrong, I apologize. I don't know how to pronounce a lot of these names, but basically Achilles' father, the father of Achilles. That is where Patroclus is right now. And at the very end of the chapter, Patroclus was hiding to get away from everybody, and he was supposed to be at drill. He was gonna get punished if he didn't have a good excuse. So Achilles took him to lyre practice with him. Let me just read you this one line. Achilles was playing his lyre, and then it says, he stopped, pushed back his hair, and turned to me. Now you. I shook my head. I could not play now, not ever, if I could listen to him instead. We're only on chapter 4. This book is gonna break me. I can already tell. Okay, it is quite a bit later. It's actually past midnight now, but I made it to chapter 10, and this is the first book I've ever tabbed. Look at this. It's already heavily tabbed. I really like how it doesn't start off in the Trojan War like the Iliad does, because the Iliad was mind-numbing, honestly. I don't know when we get to the Trojan War. We're not even close at the moment. They are being trained by Chiron right now. And this line, I didn't record earlier when I got to it because I was in the groove of reading, so I didn't stop to record. So after I read that first line, then there was another one. As if he heard me, he smiled, and his face was like the sun. His face was like the sun. Anyways, I really like it so far, so I will try to keep you updated. That's where we're at so far. Y'all, I just got to the name one hero who was happy part. I could cry. I could cry right now. I'm so upset. They're never going back to that mountain. I just know it. This is the beginning of the Trojan War, and neither of them may get through that. Okay, first things first, ignore the messy hair. I am literally about to leave my house to go get it done right now. But I just read chapter 13, and I did not think Patroclus was capable. I was baffled. Madeline Miller, you got me there. This is what the new hair looks like, in case anyone was wondering. I just read chapter 14, and genuinely at the end, it made me go, Odysseus, you sly dog. Now I'm getting scared. Y'all see that dark blue tab? Y'all know what a dark blue tab means. Dark blue tab means I cried. So if you would like to know what made me cry, I'm gonna read it to you. For reference, there is a prophecy that Achilles is gonna die in the Trojan War, that he's never gonna come back from it. And they're telling Achilles' dad goodbye, and Achilles hugs his dad, and then Patroclus hugs his dad too, and it says, I thought, this is what Achilles will feel like when he is old, and then I remembered he will never be old. Let me not cry again. Just got to the line, "He is half of my soul," as the poets say. As you can tell, I'm not taking it well. That's all for now. I am 310 pages into this book, and I just now realized that Patroclus's name is not spelled with 2 U's. Is it spelled that way in the Iliad? Am I dumb? No. I feel so stupid. Look, even when I wrote in the side of the textbook to keep up with my thoughts and have comments for when I write my essay, I wrote it with 2 U's. Look at this. It's literally spelled with only 1 U right there, and I literally spelled it wrong right here. I will take my L there. Patroclus is about to go fight, or not fight, but act like Achilles so that everyone else will fight and the Trojans will back off. And Achilles just said, "Bring it back to me," to the guys that were supposed to be with Patroclus. And well, we all know that doesn't happen. So I'm sad. More tears. Patroclus just died. 3 more chapters. I just finished it. Can we just admire the tabs first of all? There is a blue tab on the very last page because I was really sad. Like, also perfect is like the fact that his mom, after like all those years of hating him, his mom put their ashes together so that he could go to him. I am a mess. I literally have class in 10 minutes. There's not enough time to recover from this. Oh no. Let's talk about it. So I finished the Song of Achilles yesterday. Pain is the only word I have to say. This is the first book I've ever tabbed. I think I said that earlier in the video, but I'm gonna say it again. Look how heavily tabbed that is. My heart is broken, and I wanted to start a new book last night, but I couldn't because I could not stop thinking about Achilles and Patroclus. So I'm gonna run through what all the tabs mean really quick. They're kind of like on the same color scheme, and it's kind of hard to tell them apart. And I was considering getting a new set after I realized these were so close, but I just love how the blue just pops out. So I think I'm gonna keep these. But there's these white ones, and that's just my other. If it doesn't fit into any of the categories that I already have, I'll use that. These light pink ones are just romance. And then these dark ones are the tension, romantic tension. Then this is the only green one that I used for this whole book, but this is foreshadowing. That kind of hurt, not gonna lie, because I had already read the Iliad, so I knew how it ended. I know the background of the Greek mythology, so I knew how it ended, so I knew it was foreshadowing. If you didn't know the ending, maybe you wouldn't know it was foreshadowing, but I did, so I tabbed it, and I'm gonna read it to you. "Perhaps it is the greater grief, after all, to be left on earth when another is gone." Yeah, again, that hurt. Moving on, these light blue ones are something that surprised me. These yellow are for happy moments. As you can tell, there's not very many of those in this book. The orange is that it made me laugh. This is like the only funny part of this entire book. There's 1 orange tab. Actually, there's 2. Patroclus mentions an epic, and it's a story that's a retelling of an epic, so I thought that was funny. Maybe my humor is just really bad, but I thought that was funny. And then this other orange one is when Odysseus is trying to convince Achilles' son to bury their ashes together, and Achilles' son is like, "No, I don't want that peasant buried with my dad. I'm famous, and I don't want my name to be diminished by him." And then Odysseus says, "We cannot say who will survive the Holocaust of memory. Who knows?" He smiles. "Perhaps one day even I will be famous, perhaps more famous than you." And then Achilles' son goes, "I doubt it." And I thought that was really funny because you don't hear anything about Achilles' son. He's not famous. He didn't make it down in the history books, but Odysseus is really, really well known because of the Odyssey, which comes after this. That's the funny part, if you didn't know that. And then the dark blue are "It Made Me Cry." There are several of those, but the biggest one being on the very last page. I'm not gonna reread that for my own mental health, but you get the gist. That's what the tabs are. So let's compare them. The Iliad and the Song of Achilles. In my opinion, the Song of Achilles is better, just because it's more modern. The Iliad, in its day, probably would win. They're two completely different time periods, so it's really hard to even compare them, but since I said I would, I am. I liked the Song of Achilles better. I also, though, did not read the entire Iliad. I read a shortened version in my textbook, so in my opinion, Song of Achilles wins, but I do want to go back and read the whole Iliad now that I've finished the Song of Achilles, because my problem with reading the Iliad was that I didn't really understand it. Because, first of all, it's an epic poem. Just don't even get me started on epic poems. I hate them. I hate them so much. Second of all, there's like these long monologues and that you just get lost in them. In the Song of Achilles, there's like back and forth dialogue. So now that I know pretty much the gist of it, I kind of want to go back and actually read the Iliad. Don't hold me to that because she's thick, but I kind of want to go back and read it now. As I've said like 10 times, Lexi, why are you so repetitive? Anyways, I wrote my essay last night and turned it in. I just want to read the first and last line of my essay because I didn't even mean to do this, but I started it with a line that involves like the sun, and I also ended it with a line that involves the sun. So I thought that was kind of cool, especially since I didn't mean to do it. So I started off with a quote. As if he heard me, he smiled and his face was like the sun. That, if you follow me on Bookstagram, I've already posted about that. That is my favorite line. And then I finish it by saying, I will leave this paper with the last line of the Song of Achilles because that only feels right. In the darkness, two shadows reaching through the hopeless, heavy dusk. Their hands meet and light spills in a flood like 100 golden urns pouring out the sun. I 100% recommend the Song of Achilles. I loved it. It is now my favorite standalone. I rated it 5 stars, in case you didn't guess. So I hope that you enjoyed today's video, and I hope that my reading vlog type video was not too all over the place, because I have a feeling that when I go back and edit it, it is going to be rough. In one clip I'm crying, and then the next clip I am having an existential crisis because I didn't know how to spell Patroclus's name. But yeah, you've already seen that part by now. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing. Thank you for watching. I hope you stay a while.